Welcome to Deadly Dames. So, Claire and I have decided, because we don't really have a pick-up video this week because, well, we were skint after HorrorCon, we did get a couple of things for the pound shop, but nothing to really, do a video on its own with, that we would start watching and reviewing Rob Zombie. It's something we've been toying with for a while, starting these films from the beginning all the way up to the most recent 131. So today and yesterday we decided to watch House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects, and I've seen these movies many times, but Claire had never seen them before, so it was good to watch movies that I love with someone and see their reaction to the film for the first time. So, going right back to the very first Rob Zombie movie, which is House of a Thousand Corpses. Now, the guy gets a hard time. Really not sure why, because I think he's a good director, and I personally enjoy what he's done with these two. My favourite one is Devil's Rejects, but House of a Thousand Corpses does have a special place as well. It is more like a film music video, but I kind of like that about it. So, for anybody out there who's never seen House of a Thousand Corpses, it's basically about, when you can tell that Rob Zombie's a fan of Texas Chainsaw Massacre with this one, but it's basically about a family of psychopaths that live in a farmhouse in the middle of Texas. Sound familiar so far? And they basically lure in weary travellers and torture, kill them, dismember them, turn them into horror freak show parts so that they could be in Captain Spaulding's Terror Train ride. But what did you think of it, Claire? Because it was the first time you'd seen it.
Well, I really enjoyed it. I know what you mean, that it does have a feel a bit like a music video, like a really long music video, but I thought it was pretty good. As much as I'm not saying that the bad guys are likeable, but you can't really hate them as such. I think because the victims are kind of arseholes. Like, you don't like them. You can't like them.
A lot of movies do that though. They play the victims as folk that you don't really root for.
Well,
and even the ones that do try to get you to root for them, sometimes they get it wrong because you don't root for them at all.
Well, a lot of slasher films, the characters that are cannon fodder, and you don't dislike them, you just don't care about them. But a couple of one the girls and one the guys, I just couldn't stand him. One of the guys, he was a bit obsessed with serial killers and stuff like that, and he's this is really, really cool. But then when he was the victim, I mean, he did get it the worst out of.
Do you know the thing about this film though? As much as people didn't give it good reviews at the time, it's obviously built up a cult status, and everybody knows who Captain Spaulding is. Mm-hmm. And everybody knows certain lines from this movie, like "Run, Rabbit, Run." Everybody knows it. And, it shows you that even if people say, oh, Rob Zombie's not a good director, or writer, because he obviously wrote this as well and did a lot of the music in it, that people do remember his films, and I think that's a very important thing. I personally like it. I like his music, and I don't know if that's a big part of, which, by the way, if you stay in Glasgow, he's going to be live June. So, yeah, I've just spied that, so that's why I'm excited about that. But I like his music, and I actually like his music videos that he's done, and I think that was a big part of why I like House of a Thousand Corpses. I think they build up the characters that are cannon fodder pretty well, so that when they do kick it, you do actually... That sounds awful, but the reason why you like horror films is you enjoyed people getting killed, okay? Doesn't mean you're a psychopath, it just means you're enjoying the films. But I think they build that up really well. Even the parts that are very music video, they're there for a purpose. It's to show that the reason why this family's got away with murdering for so long is because the people around about them are just as crazy as they are. I mean, you've got the guy who was raving about his chickens, wasn't he? And then the other family that you get to see a short clip of, and they don't have to spell it out to you, but you kind of know these are the neighbours to these folk in the middle of nowhere, and they're also a little bit nuts. So that's how they've got away with what they've been doing for so long. Yes, the movie goes a little bit crazy when you get Dr. Satan underneath and things like that. It goes a little bit mad when it gets to that, but I kind of liked it.
I got the impression that this has been happening for probably decades, because that underground part, it was lined with bodies, and I liked the idea that there were people who'd kind of survived but they never really escaped, living underground in the tunnels, and they were a state. You could tell that they'd been there for a long time, barely surviving, but I thought that was something different that I hadn't seen in a horror film before. I quite liked it.
I really enjoyed it, and I think that personally for me, as I said, The Devil's Rejects is better than The House of a Thousand Corpses, but you do need to see The House of a Thousand Corpses to see The Devil's Rejects. It's not one of these movies you can put on and, well, you probably could, but I think you benefit more from seeing The House of a Thousand Corpses before The Devil's Rejects. Did you feel that?
I think you'd take more away from The Devil's Rejects after seeing the first one, because in the first one, maybe not so much Baby's character or the mum, or even Captain Spaulding, but is it Otis?
Mm-hmm.
He's probably the worst out of them because he is horrible. I mean, he mutilates people and turns them into freaky artworks. So I think it was interesting to see the shoe being on the other foot. Now, you had said to me that in this one, you kind of root for the bad guys, and I would say that. Well, I think some people would. I personally didn't root for them, but I did see them as the victim, and I thought that was quite an interesting twist for a sequel to make the bad guys of the first ones, the psychos, the victims.
Yeah, so basically in The Devil's Rejects, because Claire's jumped ahead without explaining it, the house is raided and there's 3 of them on the run, and they're being hunted by the brother of one of the victims from The House of a Thousand Corpses. It is, from our opinion, they don't actually state it, but we've got a feeling it's set a good bit of time after House of a Thousand Corpses. We might be wrong, but obviously they do. I mean, he's grew a full beard, so it's definitely not overnight that that's happening. So I do like that Captain Spaulding's got a bit of a meatier part in this movie. I personally enjoy it. It's a bit of a road movie which turns things on its head, and basically the killers are now the hunted. And I did not feel sorry for them, because that's probably the wrong way to put it, because you remember that they are psychopaths and they are killers that have killed many people. But you end up rooting for Baby because she suddenly becomes your heroine, that you're going, I hope she makes it, I hope she's okay. And he does a really good job of making you forget that actually, you know, she's an absolute nutter that's killed hundreds of people, because you're watching a family, and that's the part, like, although they're nutters, in that moment, Rob Zombie does a really good job of making you forget that they're nutters and making you think that they're the victims. Mm-hmm. So the brother's getting tortured and the father's getting tortured, and then the daughter and sister gets free and she's being chased, and it looks very much like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, you know, where she's getting chased through the cows. Mm-hmm. And you do root for her. You're like, oh, I hope she gets away. And in that moment, what I was meaning about feeling sorry for them is he makes you forget that they are the killers, and now they're the victims. And I like that. I think it takes a really talented director to make you, and writer, to make you think that the psychopaths are now the victims. And I love the ending to The Devil's Rejects. It couldn't have ended any other way other than the way it ended, and I totally love the ending of it.
I like the idea, though, that the person who was hunting them had to become a monster
to do what he was doing.
To hunt them.
Mm-hmm. But we're going to watch the rest of Rob Zombie's movies. I'm curious as to how we feel, because the next 2 up are obviously Halloween and Halloween 2. But I really, really enjoyed this double bill. It's a movie that, as I said, it's been a while since I've watched them, but I still enjoy them as much today as I did when I first watched them, and I'm glad that finally, because Claire kept saying, I don't want to watch them. She's very much like that. She's a pain in the butt to try and get her to watch a movie. She's always adamant she's not going to like them, and then she ends up liking them, but she doesn't want to admit that she did like them. But you did like them.
I did. I enjoyed them both.
Mm-hmm. See, she enjoyed both of them. I think that if you've never seen The House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects, and especially with the first one, you need to go into it thinking that this is a first-time director's movie. A guy that's come from doing music videos mainly before making his main feature. And you need to keep that in your mind when you watch it, because it is very much like a long music video, but it is really good, and I would say stick with it because it is really good.
I think he has some good ways of giving you a bit of background to some of the characters, just with little snippets that look like they could be taken from a music video. Mm-hmm. So without detracting from the main story, but getting to know a little bit of what they're like.
And I think
It's creepy.
it's well worth watching House of a Thousand Corpses to get to Devil's Rejects, because it is a really, really good movie. I go as far as to say a masterpiece, but I just really like this film. And I'm hoping a lot of people out there agree with me, because I just think the way that the Devil's Rejects is done is very clever, and it shows you them being evil, but then makes you forget that to root for them. And I think that's a really clever movie, and it's worth watching the House of a Thousand Corpses so that you can watch the Devil's Rejects. You could probably watch the Devil's Rejects on its own, but I think you get full benefit by watching both of them, especially if you double bill them, because it's just good watching one after another. Hopefully you liked this review, and if you've seen these movies, which I'm sure many of you have, let me know what you think about them. Do you think they're good? Do you think that they're not good? Because I think Rob Zombie's the type of person that splits people in two. You know, he's always very 50-50. Some people love him, some people don't, and I'm always interested as to why. So, you know, we like talking about movies, so leave comments below on your thoughts on these films. And as always, thank you for watching. Please like and please like and subscribe is what I was trying to say. I don't know what's happening to me. I think it's because I know Halloween's coming up next. But we're going to go watch Halloween and Halloween 2, the remakes, back to back. We're going to double bill them again, and then do a review like this as well. I remember seeing Halloween 2 at the cinema and walking out thinking it was a pile of crap. I haven't actually watched it since then, so it's going to be very interesting. I've not.
Have you not? I thought you had.
No, okay. I put it on and started watching it, never finished it.
Okay.
So I've never watched it the whole way through since then. So I think it's going to be very interesting for us to watch it again, because you've not seen it either.
Well, I think watching them back to back, you might appreciate the second one a bit more.
Well, hopefully.
By the end of the night.
If we don't make another video, it's because we've gave up on everything after watching Halloween 1 and 2, the remakes back to back. But hopefully you do like this review, and we're looking forward to watching the rest of Rob Zombie's movies if we survive Halloween 1 and 2. And as I said, please like and subscribe, and take care.